Cryptonomicon, a book with many connections just stemming from its title. The title itself is a reference to a fictional book by H.P. Lovecraft called Necronomicon, based on talking about the old gods and how to summon them. Whereas Necronomicon was a textbook of magic, Cryptonomicon is commonly referred to as the cryptographer's Bible. The Cryptonomicon in the story is a legendary book that's glorified by coders, covering all of America's cryptography and cryptoanalysis history. The people who worked and created the book are regarded as a brotherhood of code, a secret society of elite coders. Throughout the book, there are many fictional references and appearances of characters. In order to fully understand these references, we must first go back and understand the initial storyline. The book does not have a set plot, but instead is separated into two frames of action, one based in World War II and one based in the 1990s. Of course, both of these events are connected as well. The frame of action first based in World War II is based around Lawrence Waterhouse, who along with Alan Turing is placed on Detachment 2702, an intelligence squad in which to create false evidence to hide the fact that the Allies have cracked the Enigma Nazi code. If the Nazis figure out that the code has been broken, they will stop using it to transmit information, therefore the need to produce false evidence. Seeing as to how this idea of Detachment 2702 stemming from Enigma, the legendary unbreakable code of the Nazis was one of the inspirations. At the time, the Enigma was a code that seemed completely unbreakable, and it was extremely important. It was an extremely important part of the Nazi communication system. Cracking the Enigma seemed like a fruitless and impossible task because of the complexity of the code, and this is perfectly captured by the movie Imitation Game, which covers Alan Turing's creation of the machine that was finally able to break the code. However, cracking the Enigma was not a clear victory, because in order to continue gaining information, the Nazis must not know that the Allies had cracked Enigma, otherwise no more information would be transmitted, hence Detachment 2702. Fast forward from the events of World War II, the book bounces back and forth from the 1940s to the 1990s, talking about the present time in the novel, around 1997, where the characters are trying to build a data haven, in which to protect information from the government in order to promote online anonymous banking. The inspiration of this development comes from the Asian financial crisis in 1997, with many countries losing their currency worth and banks shutting down. The inspiration for this data haven is to prevent further corruption and manipulation of money, especially with banks and the government. Because of the harmful events of the Asian financial crisis, Stephenson models his data haven as a solution for this problem, to prevent these financial crises and to allow people to anonymously conduct online transactions so to protect their money and their privacy. Another connection to the action in the 1990s develops as a result of a treasure hunt. Back in the 1940s, during the regime of the Nazis, a secret warehouse with the purpose of storing mass amounts of gold is developed. Because everyone working on this project was killed except for one survivor, the location was very hidden. Randy, along with Chateau, were first tipped off by Avi, and then are able to discover the location from a local Filipina, and find over $100 million in gold bars. The importance of this discovery is the fact that despite the temptation of this extreme amount of money, both men decide not to take this money and for personal means, but instead dedicate it to preventing another Holocaust and to help current Holocaust victims. This action shows how the Holocaust's horrific actions were acknowledged in the book. The actions of the Holocaust had been extremely shocking to the world at the time, and the influences of that genocide continue to be amplified. The impact of how much the Holocaust affected future generations is even further developed in the book, as more and more characters are revealed to have known the location of the gold, yet all have the same intention of avoiding another Holocaust. The actions of the Holocaust were so devastating that Stephenson dedicated the main plot of his story towards it, and with all the characters focused upon sustaining that wish. Despite Cryptonomicon being written in 1999, the ideas that it portrayed were very indicative of the future and very insightful as the way the world would function even now. In the late 1900s, the internet was just becoming relevant. It was because of a large increase in the usage of the internet at the time that Stephenson was able to see the importance. However, Stephenson's ideas of anonymous banking and freedom of data were ideas that seemed insignificant then, yet are becoming increasingly relevant topics now. One such topic is the importance of internet anonymity. Currently, an extremely controversial topic which is constantly being discussed again and again is the idea of internet anonymity. Stephenson portrays this idea with him stressing the importance of the characters in the novel, attempting to establish a data haven apart from government manipulation. The idea of anonymity is an example of Stevenson's vision of the future, and even recognized the importance of anonymity today. Currently, internet anonymity is important yet flawed because while it is necessary to maintain anonymity to protect privacy and to promote freedom of speech, it also loses the human connection between each other as people are seen as entities and not as real people. This is similar to the data haven in the book, protecting people's transactions from manipulations and promoting independence, yet still with the problem of people abusing this power. Also connected to this idea of freedom from manipulation and maintaining privacy is the recent controversy over net neutrality. Had net neutrality been removed, internet providers and websites could have targeted specific people because of other sites they have used, forcing people to pay more for certain sites if it were a rival of the provider. This would have effectively stomped freedom of speech on the internet, and even manipulated information and opinions by making certain sites more difficult to access, restricting access to certain information. This protection created by net neutrality reflects the efforts made to create this data haven to protect individual spending, and to stop people from being charged more based on their personal information. This shows how Stephenson even predicted the importance of anonymity within reactions in the modern world. Stephenson also captured a major form of modern monetary interactions, online transactions. The data haven that he created in his book, and the goal that was idealized to back it up, was not only to protect anonymity online, but also to facilitate online trade. In our modern world, nearly all transactions are made online, with it being the most used medium for money transactions. The promotion of online transactions is another example of Stephenson's vision of the future. Because of the internet boom during the 1900s and early 2000s, Stephenson was able to connect this idea and recognize the importance that online transactions would become. All of these forward connections to Stephenson's writings reflect the fact that Stephenson was really able to see the big picture of technology. Despite all these things that Stephenson writes about, such as protecting information and privacy, the truth to anonymity and privacy is much more simple. Stephenson leaves us with this. But it turns out that the way to have a safe haven like that is not to go to some strange country out in the ocean and dig a hole in the ground and put servers in the hole, like in the book. You just use the internet and encrypt things. So that part of it is more poetic than anything else. Another inconvenient development that has come along since that is that if you're an evil government, the way to invade people's privacy is not by reading their encrypted files. You can get that information in a lot of other ways. And people don't really protect their privacy. They put incredibly personal details of their lives on Facebook pages and in blog posts and email. It's like they have an urge to tell everyone in the world everything that they're thinking.